Hello everyone, I'm PandaLemonTart, and this is the first town I have built in a year. In fact, it is the first plot I've worked on in a year. And today we are adding a bathhouse to this Japanese town called Midorihama Street. And I don't know if you've seen the announcement already, but Bloxburg has decided to make me a partnered content creator. This is honestly such an honor, and it wouldn't have been possible if it weren't for you guys. So thank you so much, and thank you to Bloxburg for considering me. Anyways, let's get into the video, shall we? As usual, we do our little cleanup to make space for our new build. Now, I did feel like I was rushing the series a little bit with having 2 build editions per video, so I decided to slow down, and today I'm only doing a bathhouse. I was also supposed to do a laundromat next to it, but that can wait. Also, if I sound weird, that's because I'm just getting over a cold. This build is going to be 2 stories high. I'm kind of feeling regretful for making the apartment next to this build literally 4 stories tall, because it's kind of disproportionate compared to the rest of the buildings. Even as I'm looking at the building we have right now, I'm already feeling anxious because how are we supposed to fit 2 lots of bathing areas for the men and women with this limited space? Now, when it comes to building, I'm always looking for ways to be somewhat unique. So that's why I've used the cinder blocks as partitions and added an air conditioning decoration to the front of the build. I quickly colored the build a nice light blue and green color and added some window shutters for some variation. I've been having trouble with this build for a while because it's supposed to be a Japanese street, but for me it doesn't feel like it yet. So just to give it that traditional Japanese vibe, I added these traditional windows to the front. And because it is important for us to advertise our business, I made sure to include cork boards where we can put posters, some signs, and stands promoting our bathhouse services. And not gonna lie, I have never been to an actual bathhouse before. Sure, I've watched plenty of animes that featured them, and that's why I know about it, but I definitely want to try it one day. But I'm also kind of dreading the fact that you have to be fully, you know, to get in the baths with other people. Though luckily for us, here in my Bloxburg bathhouse, everyone is free to keep their clothes on. So it's official, I do not know how I'm going to part this whole bathhouse to fit 2 bathing areas, but I know one thing. I would like the female area to be upstairs and the men's area to be downstairs. But that's just not enough. I wanted to add a sauna, a public bathing area with organic rocks and bamboo, and I just didn't have enough space for that. So I said, frick it, we're going to extend this thing all the way back. No one has to know. And plus, this is all under what would be a train station anyways. It'll be fine. So I had this whole idea where we could bathe in this underground pool, and when you look up, you're literally inside a cave. And I even created this whole complex for it, only to realize that I actually can't have that since I can't add pools to the basement. Yep, and at that point, I was just so disappointed. I decided to ditch that area for now and start coloring the entire place. I, of course, added a mixture of light woods, dark woods, and stone designs, just to make the whole place feel organic and earthy and healthy. It's a vibe. And it is now time to return to the public pool we ditched a while ago. I settled for a rectangular shaped natural pool with cut corners. I added boulder structures around it. This was a very expensive decision because most of these rocks were made using basic shapes, and I completed that with bamboo basic shapes. And how I made these is pretty easy. I made a longer cylinder and a flatter cylinder, and the flatter one is a little bit wider than the long one, and I just stacked that on top of each other, so it gives that natural knuckles that bamboos usually have. And after that, I filled the whole back area of the natural baths with bamboo. I used the delete tool to chop off the top bits of the bamboo so the shaping is a little bit more organic, and because I'm me and I have the worst luck, this happened. That's right, my bamboos were not saved, and I had to do the process all over again. Off screen, at least. After that problem was fixed, I proceeded to decorate the rest of this area, and let me tell you, it was not easy. I did not know what to put, so I just added like a bunch of small chairs for people to rest on, a mirror, and I was also guessing that the people needed a place to put their stuff while they're bathing, so I made these wooden lockers with a sliding door. And even after all that, I felt like something was still missing. Then I thought, maybe I should put a pillar here. If we really want to sell the whole underground bathing area, then we would need proper reinforcements to prevent the earth from collapsing on us, right? I don't know, maybe I'm just delusional, but that's what I did. I put pillars to support the ceiling. Next up is the reception area. It is quite a small space, so I didn't bother putting traditional counters because that's just a waste of space. I instead tried to create my own using these shelves. Over the years, Bloxburg has added so many items to build mode. I keep forgetting certain items exist, like this grid container here, and whenever I find hidden gems like these, it's like a little surprise. For this purpose though, I was thinking that maybe this is where all of the locker keys are hidden. I added a sitting area at reception and some umbrellas for rainy season. I went to Japan when it was raining a lot, and to my surprise, the hotels I went to always had complimentary umbrellas, and everyone just had their own umbrella, and they would leave it in a container like this every time they went inside an establishment, and no one would even steal your umbrella. It's so different to how we do it in Australia, because in Australia, a lot of people would just let themselves get wet rather than use an umbrella, because using an umbrella is like an embarrassing thing to do, if that makes sense. Here, I'm just adding lockers for people to place their items while they change into robes and flip-flops. I wanted to add more bamboos here, but the bamboos we made a while ago are far too big and take up too much space. So I settled for this linear plant and painted it into a bamboo color and texture. I then carefully added another corkboard to promote our prices, and because we are lacking windows, I tried to make up for it by adding these fake traditional windows, mirrors, and paintings. Then I quickly reminded myself that I had to make male and female toilets because I couldn't fit them into their designated area. So I quickly did that. Then I realized I couldn't fit sinks into the toilets rooms. So I had to put the wash area outside. But I'm kind of glad because it ended up looking so much cuter. Finally, it's time to work on the baths. I'm just fixing up the windows for the female area, making sure that they are positioned higher, just in case there's any peeping toms, and I even added half curtains for protection as well. It's so refreshing to seeing the light in this build. I believe the only windows we have are the ones in reception and the ones in the second floor. So I'm definitely taking advantage of this free lighting. Now, my vision for this is to have this continuous sink where people can put masks or just rinse themselves, but I had to make it using basic shapes because there's nothing like it currently. I added a clear blue colored basic shape to make it seem like there's water as well, and I added spigots from the gardening area. I love these spigots. They're so rustic, and you'll see me use them a lot for this build, and I also included these round-shaped mirrors. This was also when I messaged Roblox to get my verified check back because I lost it a year ago for changing my display name. And yes, I got it back in this video. It is right up in the corner. For the second room, I wanted to put individual bathtubs, but they're all somewhat still connected. And here I'm trying to make a thingy where the water comes out. And it takes a while trying to figure out the textures before I can continue on because I wanted certain areas of the item to be darker, specifically the parts where it's usually touched by water to get that realistic effect. I hid a spigot inside and the nozzle of it just comes out at the front. I really love this invention. My favorite part though is making everything foggy using a fog machine. It just puts the whole bathhouse together. I made sure to add some greenery and filled up the tubs with basic shaped water, so that's that's why they're always filled up, not only when they're being used. I think that's part of the charm. Did you know that in Japan, bathtubs are a big thing? A whole family uses the same bathtub water to soak in after showering. The keyword is showering. They must shower and be clean before going into the same water bath. I'm just adding a few decorations upstairs, and it is now time to do the men's baths. I tried to do a similar thing here, but it ended up not liking the results, so I opted for a different type of bath, a hot tub. Specifically this circular hot tub, which now that I think about it, I'm not sure if men are comfortable bathing together, but it is what it is. I'm just glad that I have a variation of different baths here. This bathhouse is a small family-owned establishment. It is called a Sento. That is what they call a small bathhouse spa in Japan, especially one that is family-owned. This particular Sento is managed by a grandmother, a mother, and a granddaughter. They have turned this failing business into a successful one after the passing of the head of the house, which is the husband of the mother slash the son of the grandmother. He had bad gambling habits, and after his passing left the three women with great debt. But fortunately, they were able to pay all of it off after this bathhouse went viral online for being a tattoo-friendly bathhouse. It became especially popular to foreigners. Having tattoos are often looked down in Japan because they're associated with violent gangs like the Yakuza, and traditional Sentos usually never cater to tattooed foreigners, but this Sento does, allowing tourists to experience these sorts of bathhouses in Japan. I had this incredible idea to add a sauna to the side of the public baths, and I carefully tried to integrate it by building basic shapes around, just to make it seem like it's actually embedded in the wall. Lastly, I added signage outside to let everyone know that this is a bathhouse spa, or a Sento. Okay, we are finally done with our Japanese Sento. I think that's what it's called. It's supposed to be a small bathhouse in Japan. And let's go in, shall we? Oh my gosh, my moods are just all over right now, but this is what it looks like at the front. Very cute and humble. We even have the schedule up over here, and let's go inside. Oh, and look at this. Hi, Sherbet. Fancy seeing you here. This is the reception area over here. We have a small counter, and we also have this board where they can see the schedule of the services, okay? And look at Sherbet minding the counter. Thank you so much for that, Sherbet. We also have over here in this little box the keys for the little cubicles I made over here. So because it's a Japanese onsen slash Sento, we do have to put our shoes away before we go in and switch them for flip-flops, well, slippers, I think. Yeah, and let's keep going, shall we? We have, let's close that for now. We have the women and the men's toilets, okay? And I didn't have enough space for the sink, so I put them over here, okay? So sue me that the sink is outside. But look at Sherbet, she is going to the public bath, okay? I am aware though that in these situations usually there's girls and boys baths, but I didn't have enough space or time or effort, left in me to create another one, so we just have one that we can share, okay? And I also added a sauna over here, and of course the bamboo decorations. I am so proud of that. And let us keep going, shall we? Okay, the next place we're going to is the men's baths, okay? It looks like this. It's a lot smaller than the women's, but that's okay. They have this area where they can wash their face, put on some masks, and there's even a mirror over here. Look at us. And there is also this big round spa for the men to just chill at. Oh, look at that. Oh, so nice and bougie. Okay, and honestly, that's all for the men's baths. Let's go upstairs, shall we? Because that's where the women's baths are. I was really struggling with how I was going to structure this whole place, and as you can tell, this one's way bigger. Why? I don't know why. Okay, they have the same like square meters, but this one just looks a lot bigger and it has a lot more like amenities. Let's just place the masks away. And lastly, I want to show you the women's bath. They do have individual baths unlike the men. And yeah, that's all for this tour. Honestly, it's a pretty small bathhouse. It is family owned, so yeah, there is that. Thank you so much, Sherbet, for helping me out with filming this tour. Oh, look at her, she's like bowing and everything. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. I'll bow as well. This is so cute. And if I sound weird, it's because I was sick for a while and I low-key still am. That's why I haven't been uploading. But yeah, that's why my voice feels a bit strange. But yeah, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye!